من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Permit me, Mr. Chairman, General Abdullah Kado, to first and foremost address and welcome His Excellency, the Head of State, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and President of the Republic of Ghana. And more importantly for us, the preeminent citizen of Nii. Your Excellency, Nime, Sarakai, ministers, members of parliament, eminent jurists, excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pride and joy that I stand before you today to celebrate the 20th anniversary of my coronation as the chief of Nima. 20 years ago, I was torn between accepting what I considered to be a very important national assignment, offered by the then President and the nomination by my family to be the chief of Nima. At the end of the day, my family's persistence won, even though, as I realized later, I could have performed both functions without any legal or customary impediments. As I look back to the past 2 decades, I am thrilled by a deep sense of humility and gratitude for the trust and support I have received from family, friends, my chiefs, the youth, and the men and women, not only of Nima, but the whole of Accra and beyond. When I first took on the role of the chief, I made a solemn promise to serve and lead our community to the best of my abilities. We have had challenges over the years, social, cultural, economic, and more. But through them all, we have remained united and unwavering in our commitments to progress and stability. I am deeply grateful to every one of you for your unalloyed support and being the driving force behind our success. If our community has thrived and flourished today, it is because of your dedication, passion, and resilience. At this juncture, let me take this opportunity to show my immense gratitude to brother chiefs of the Zongo'S chiefs of Nima, Accra, and all the regions of Ghana for their love and support throughout the years. I'm also very grateful to the men and women of the various committees set up to organize this celebration. You have done a human job. May Allah continue to bless you. Your Excellency, on the glorious day when we have all gathered here to celebrate our journey into a modern-day Zongo leadership, I take this opportunity to declare this day as the Nima Day, to be celebrated every December. These celebrations will be used to take stock of our past, deliberate on our present circumstances, as well as strategize for the accelerated human development in the Zongo community. Your Excellency, Mr. President, we have over the years complained and shown our unhappiness, and rightfully so, about what seemed to be deliberate exclusion and the lack of adequate recognition and representation at the higher levels of government. For instance, I cannot point to one true Zongo person in the cabinet of all governments of the Fourth Republic, certainly not in the Second and the Third Republics. Yet, needless to remind everyone here that we constitute a very significant part of the Ghanaian society, both in numbers and quality of human resource. Very often, considerations are made for regional and gender balances, but not for Zongo communities, whose only crime, Mr. President, is that they spread throughout the country. The Zongo'S may be minorities in many of the regions, but cumulatively, only a few regions in Ghana can come close in terms of numbers. What should have been an advantage has rather turned out to be a disadvantage. Your Excellency, Mr. President, we cannot entirely blame governments for this situation, as we also have responsibility for a chunk of the blame. I do not have the slightest of doubt that we of the Zongo'S love one another and wish one another well. We have, however, failed over the years to gather the courage to translate this love into building structures that can offer leadership capable of negotiating with governments and other institutions to ensure adequate participation of our people in the fullness of national life. It is only through that collaborative efforts and strong leadership that Zongo communities can realize this potential. I will humbly suggest that we use the Nima Day celebrations to bring together all stakeholders, including our chiefs, the youth, professionals, and to kickstart discussions to ensure that we achieve the desired objective. Mr. Chairman, permit me to extend on behalf of all of us gathered here our warmest welcome and deepest gratitude to His Excellency, the Head of State, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and NEMA's preeminent citizen, for making time to grace this occasion with his presence. We are reliably informed that the President has had to delay and reschedule his travel time in order to be with us this morning. I'm not surprised that, Mr. President, that you have done this, for it is not the first time that you have honored me with such a gesture. In March 2014, when you made up your mind to contest the 2016 elections, you drove straight to my palace with your entire entourage to inform me of this decision. You told me you did not want me to hear the announcement on the air. I observed your entourage was surprised that I am the first to be accorded this courtesy. I also remember that your vice presidential candidate then, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is now the presidential candidate of the Republic of Ghana, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, stood up in an emotional tone, told the gathering in my palace that by Allah, this is the first time I am hearing my leader tell anyone, including myself, what he is going to say at the press conference. Having invited me, I'm quoting Mr. Bawumia, having invited me to accompany him to the press conference, I expected a positive news, but he never said anything to me regarding what he's going to say until I heard him say it this morning. Mr. President, additionally, you honored me and my people once again by appointing me as the first chairman of the governing board of the Zongo Development Fund. You have done some more than I can disclose here. And now it is not, and this is not for the consumption of the public. We are most grateful. My friend and my president, I have always prayed for you and for the success of your government. Mr. President, for the past 7 years, you have remarkably steered the affairs of this country under difficult circumstances. The difficulties that the entire world, including Ghana, have had to go through as a result of serious disruptions in economic and social life brought about by COVID-19, the Russia-Ukraine war, and in the case of our subdivision, the instability that occasions insurgency in West Africa, are overwhelming for any government to grapple with. Despite all this, we have remained an island of peace and stability. Mr. President, you will agree with me that poverty is pretty much a major development challenge in Ghana. And urban poverty in particular is gradually becoming a threat to efforts to consolidate the middle income status of this country. In Ghana, Zongo communities serve as primary sanctuary communities where migrant labor finds shelter as they prepare to launch themselves into their respective fields of endeavor. In spite of the hope offered by these Zongo communities, they have also come to represent larger enclaves of poverty, slums, and other physical and non-physical vulnerabilities of the urban space. It is useful to acknowledge that the government has done their bit to ameliorate this challenge. Indeed, your government's response has been to establish the Zongo Development Fund with a vision to create prosperous, inclusive, sustainably developed inner city and Zongo communities across the Ghana. Other achievements of this government, which are worthy of mention, are the 3HSS, national ID card with unique identifier, medical drones, ambulances in all constituencies. NHIS renewal unfolds. Whilst acknowledging this effort, we also know that government cannot do it alone, and so the government's experiment need to be intervene. Having been born and bred in the Zongo community and learning from our struggles, I established an NGO called FAL Foundation in 2018. We were, however, careful to avoid a conflict of interest situation because the foundation